No earthworms in your garden beds is one of the loudest warning signs your soil can give you. Before we get into the fix, make sure you're subscribed to Evergreen Garden and share this with a gardener who keeps wondering why their soil looks lifeless no matter how much compost they add. If your beds have no worms, your soil biology is broken, and plants will always struggle. Worms are not optional extras. They are living indicators that moisture, microbes, oxygen, and food are all in balance. When they vanish, it's because something fundamental is wrong. Why earthworms abandon garden beds even when you think you're doing everything right? Earthworms leave soil for three main reasons: lack of moisture, lack of food, or hostile conditions. Dry soil is the most common culprit. Worms breathe through their skin and require consistently damp conditions. If your soil dries hard between waterings, worms either migrate deeper or die. The second issue is food scarcity. Worms feed on decaying organic matter, not raw soil. Beds that rely on synthetic fertilizer or bare soil starve worms even if nutrients appear high. The third reason is toxicity. Excess salts from chemical fertilizers, frequent tilling, or acidic soil below pH 5.5 creates an environment worms simply cannot tolerate. The Australian worm tower method solves the problem at the root rather than chasing symptoms. Australian gardeners popularised worm towers because they work in harsh climates and poor soils. A worm tower is a simple vertical composting system buried directly in the bed. It creates a permanent food and moisture source that attracts worms from surrounding soil and keeps them where plants need them. Unlike surface compost, a tower feeds worms underground, protects them from heat, and allows castings to leach directly into the root zone. How to build a worm tower properly so it actually attracts worms instead of rotting. Use a piece of PVC pipe or any sturdy plastic pipe about 30 to 40 centimeters long and 10 to 15 centimeters wide. Drill holes all around the lower two-thirds of the pipe, spacing them roughly 2 to 3 centimeters apart. These holes allow worms to move freely between the tower and soil. Bury the pipe so that only 5 centimeters remain above ground. This prevents flooding while still allowing airflow. When it comes to feeding your worm tower, getting the balance right is key to avoiding unpleasant smells and pesky invaders. Start inside the tower with a bedding mix made of shredded cardboard or newspaper, combined with aged compost at a ratio of about 2 parts carbon-rich material to 1 part compost. Add kitchen scraps, but do so sparingly. For every 1 cup of food scraps, you really want to add 2 cups of shredded dry material. The best things to put in are vegetable peelings, crushed eggshells, coffee grounds, and spent tea leaves. It's important to steer clear of citrus, meat, oily foods, or large amounts of onion. And remember, the contents should stay moist, a bit like a wrung-out sponge, never soggy. Moisture management is, honestly, non-negotiable if you want your worms to stick around for the long haul. Even the best designed worm tower will fail if the soil dries out. You need to keep the moisture consistent all the way down to at least 20 centimeters around the bed. Often this means giving a deep watering once or twice a week rather than just a daily sprinkle on the surface. In hotter climates, it's a good idea to lay down a mulch layer about 5 to 8 centimeters thick using straw, dry grass, or leaf litter. Mulch helps regulate temperature, feeds the microbes, and stops the soil surface from crusting over, which, as it happens, worms really dislike. Seeding worms naturally is often a better bet than buying them and risking disappointment. In most places, worms will actually find their way to your tower if you simply improve the conditions. However, if your soil is completely sterile, you can introduce a small starter population. Add no more than 250 grams of composting worms per bed section, and make sure to introduce them right into the worm tower, not just into the loose soil. This way, they get immediate access to food and shelter. Just be careful not to overload your beds with worms before everything is set up properly. as that tends to cause die-offs rather than success. So, you might be wondering, just how long does it take before you notice real changes in your soil structure and plant growth? Well, within about 3 to 4 weeks, you should start to see worm activity popping up around the tower holes. After 2 to 3 months, you'll find the soil near the tower getting darker, more crumbly, and honestly, much easier to work with. Your plants will begin to show stronger root development, and you'll notice improved water retention as well. Then, after about 6 months, worm populations typically spread throughout the whole bed, and the soil starts to self-regulate its moisture and fertility. It's a gradual process, but the results really do speak for themselves. Now let's talk about why this Australian fix actually outperforms fertilizers and soil amendments over the long term. Fertilizers, well, they feed your plants for a little while, but worms, they rebuild your soil permanently. Every worm processes organic matter into castings that are packed with plant-available nutrients, beneficial microbes, and natural growth hormones. Just one healthy worm population can cycle several kilograms of organic matter per square meter each year. And once they're established, worms reduce compaction, improve drainage, and honestly, they eliminate the need for constant inputs. It's a real game changer for your garden. Keeping your worm towers going season after season without ever having to start over is actually quite simple. Feed your worms lightly, but do it consistently. Top up the bedding whenever the material breaks down. Never let your towers dry out completely. Moisture is key. If the temperatures drop, just reduce feeding, but keep the moisture stable. And in the hot months, it's a good idea to shade your towers if you can. Worm systems thrive on stability, not on volume, so it's all about keeping things steady. If this guide has helped you understand why worms disappear and how to bring them back for good, go ahead and subscribe to Evergreen Garden for real soil solutions that actually work. Share this video with someone who's battling deadbeds and keep growing soil that grows food.